Namaskaram. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Good. Already we are on the 35th day. So exciting. So, in today's session, we will try to explore a little further. In the sense, any amount of theory or any abstract will not really help us totally. But it will just try to deepen our understanding. That is what Lord Yama says to little Nachiketa. Any amount of description or debate or whatsoever will not help you, he says. He says, try to get the real experience. And the sadhak for that has to be really humble, surrender himself to the process. So most often Guru Garu would ask us, what have you done for yourself? See, we do so many things for people around us. He says, what have you really done for yourself, he says. By this, he means he wants us to understand the reality. He wants us to seek liberation. He wants us to get liberated. Okay, so let me share the screen. So we were talking about the higher states. So how to understand a higher state? So we definitely know that we are not in that state, at least most of us. So very clearly, the sensory organs, they are still. They do not pick up any information from outside. They're just still. The mind is relaxed. The mind is not very active. The intellect is not processing. That is a higher state. So how to reach a better state or a higher state? It is by processing this, going through the process of meditation with absolute calm and quietude. So how to do this again? How does a normal person like me, how do I do that? Right? So we carefully, we have to improve our awareness. Suppose we are walking on the road. So the normal perception would be, the inner perception would be that I'm walking, right? So we have to shift our attention or awareness to the inner side, to the inside. And we have to see our own body walking. Just see your own body walking on the road. You're eating some food. Just be observant and just be aware of who the real taster is, who is tasting this food. Just go beyond the tongue. There is somebody inside, something inside, which is the actual taster, the knower, the doer, everything inside. That is, we have to shift our awareness from I am doing this to a separateness. Like we have to imagine initially a sense of separate entity inside. See, somebody, the seer is inside. I'm referring to the Angushtamatra Purusha. With the quality, the Atma. When the Atma has a quality, it assumes shape. It is called the Angushtamatra Purusha. So now we have to shift our attention and awareness to the Angushtamatra Purusha. In all the basic states we function, normal states, the Jagrat, Swapna and Sushupti, there is no understanding of this separate entity inside. There's no awareness of the Atma. So slowly, that is, we are unaware of them. And once we consciously try to shift our awareness to that separate entity inside, shift our awareness to the Atma, then this shift of the higher consciousness happens. Right? So many people explain their experiences in so many infinite ways. Again, it's for us to only focus on experience and not get entangled with the various definitions people give, the various words that explain, nothing like that. Shift our awareness and try to experience. So this is what Guru Garu means when he says, what have you done for yourself? We have to give ourselves an opportunity to rise above the normal patterns, normal states. So before I go into a little theory of beyond yesterday's class, the normal practice that we are doing is the Angushtamatra Purusha is inside the Daharakasha of the Anahata Chakra, and he is catching up the OMkaram from the Paramatma residing inside. In fact, whatever Angushtamatra Purusha, the Atma we are referring to, he himself is Paramatma. They're not two, they're one again. We experience that a little later. But for now, we're focusing on the Angushtamatra Purusha. He's picking up he's listening to the indweller, whoever is residing inside this body, is listening to the Omkara coming from the source inside. Now it's like a lateral pickup. He's picking up the signals or picking up the vibrational frequencies of Omkara in a lateral direction. To take our sadhana forward, Guru Garu has suggested another interesting technique. So this is good. This is good. So to deepen the sadhana, he says, this is how we are. The Angushtamatra Purusha is picking up the Omkaram from which is coming from inside him. Right? Now he says, just imagine that the Angushtamatra Purusha is listening to the Omkaram, which is coming from inside a well. What happens? This normal Om becomes Om. There is a boom to it. There is an echo to it. There is an increase in volume of the sound, right? So to deepen our sadhana in the meditation session, you just imagine that the Angushtamatra Purusha is sitting on the edge of a well and he's picking up the Omkaram, which is coming from deep inside the well. So this is the next step of sadhana there. By this, the Omkaram becomes voluminous. We are only listening. The Angushtamatra Purusha is only listening. He is the listener there. And this cross body is seeing that. That's all. We are not doing anything. So this has to become very effortless, very easy. Then gradually, as we improve our sadhana, we will take it, as we take it to the next level. We do this sadhana effortlessly, just like that, even when we are doing other works and all, other jobs also. So when the Angushtamatra Purusha rises from the Mooladhara and comes back and sits in the Anahata, and he does not, that means, what does that mean? It means that Angushtamatra Purusha is capable of moving inside. He's separate from this body. He's the takeaway there. So instead of listening to in a lateral direction to the Paramatma inside the Angushtamatra Purusha, The Angushtamatra Purusha will now be picking up the Omkaram coming from deep within him. The swell, in fact, is deep inside the Angushtamatra Purusha. So we are shifting our consciousness, we are shifting our awareness to the self, and we are becoming one with it. This process will take us inside. And another thing that we can do is, there is a silence between two Omkaras, right? Om. Om. There is a gap in between. We have to focus on the silence. Normally, our focus would be on the Omkara. Now, our focus would shift to the gap between two Omkaras, the silence. So, by shifting that focus to the silence between two Omkaras, internally we ourselves become very silent. There is no agitation. There is no comparison. There is no hustle bustle. We remain at peace. We don't compare with other people. We don't gauge other people. We don't gauge ourselves. We are traveling towards that silence, inner silence. So many people have said that it is in the silence that the God is seen. The ultimate experience is God. So this method could take us a little forward. Don't know where. Again, the individual punya, individual samskaras. So the same thing, the same knowledge would occur to different people in different ways based on their samskaras. And that places them at a particular level of understanding, a particular level of consciousness. It is okay. It is okay. It is important that we are on the path. Once we are on the road, we need not know what the road is made up of or how many layers are there below the top layer. Eventually, the travel will take us to the destination. Right? So the Angushtamatra Purusha will be picking up the Omkaram, which is coming from within, which is like a deep well, a very voluminous Om. Is picking up that Omkaram. Right? And also, consciously, we will be focusing on the silence between two Omkaras. It is then that the superconsciousness becomes very active. When all the other things have to subside. I am this, I am that, the sensory organs, the mind, the intellect, they should all bow down, they should all surrender. Then the magic will begin to happen. So the whole process is in the Anahata Chakra. Right? From the Anahata Chakra, this is so important. I was always wondering, I have a little association with the higher Kriya practices and all, where the practice is done in the Agnya Chakra. So I was always wondering why Guru Garu is suggesting us to work here at the Anahata. That was my basic question. And this Atma Vidya has given the perfect answer to all that. The practice in the Anahata Chakra, why is this? We will know it. So we also know that prana plays an important role in liberation. So the prana shakti, we are a living being when the prana is inside. When the prana goes out, the physical body is only lying there, and the prana escapes. There is no death for Atma. The prana, the Angushtamatra Purusha leaves along with the prana sharira, the subtle body, and also the causal body. So our learning now has come to a stage where we are trying to understand the ways in which prana is functioning. The pancha pranas we have seen. So they help us in sustenance here. The prana, mukhya prana, apana, dhyana, samana, and udana. We have seen the pancha pranas, right? So this prana plays a very important role in liberation. That is what happens after the Atma leaves the body, leaves the physical body. So by now we understand that there is no depth to this Atma. It is all pervading. It is everywhere. It is in the skies. It is in the waters. It is in the fire. All the 5 elements. It is everywhere. Atma is everywhere. All pervading. Atma is inside us, we think, because still we are not in touch with the actual reality. But we are in the Atma. The Paramatma manifests as you and me. So over and over, we try to repeat this for ourselves so that it becomes an imprint in us. So the prana plays a very important role in liberation. So people talk about mukti, moksham, what it is. So it also depends on the prana. Oh. So we have discussed that there are 72,000 nadis, different numbers in different texts, based again on the experiences of the yogis, how clearly they could see the inner, the prana sharira, the clarity which they could see. So that could have reflected the numbers or the sub-channels, the channels, the pranic channels, or the sub-channels. They could see everything. Based on that, the number will be slightly varying. Just don't worry about the number. We have seen the 3, Ida, Pingala, Ida on the right, Pingala on the left, and the Sushumna in the center. So with that understanding, we are going forward. So all these nadis, most of them, all nadis, they originate from 2 basic centers in the body. So this is the takeaway. They originate from 2 main centers of the body. One is the Kandasthana. Kandabhagam is below the navel, below the Manipura chakra, and the heart. See the beauty of it? So the Kandasthana and the heart. Since heart, the Anahata chakra is a higher chakra here at the heart center. So practicing here is suggested by Guru Garu. Why? See, many nadis originate from the heart. So we will go forward from here. The Kandasthana is below the navel. It's a slightly lower world, right? So the practice is happening in a fairly upper world. The heart. All nadis are originating from 2 centers in the body, the Kandasthana below the navel and the heart. So take this, underline this. See what happens when the Atma leaves the body is of interest to many of us. So this has been, burning inside me since long. What happens? What happens, Karkin? So here, I remember, I will tell you another incident a little later. What happens? How does the soul leave the body? How should the Atma leave the body? Is what we are trying to understand. The Atma can leave the body. Atma, Atman mean the same, right? The Angushtamatra Purusha is the Atma with a form, which is because of the impressions or the samskaras, right? So it can leave the body through any of the openings. We have 9 openings, right? 2 lower openings and 7 here. It can leave through any of it. When the Atman leaves the body through the lower openings, it has to take a rebirth. With those samskaras, the soul has to come back, cleanse, purify, and then evolve. So it is but inevitable for every Atma to come back, because it has to get rid of all the samskaras it has accumulated. The Atman living through the lower, it can also as well live through any part of the body sometimes, but mostly through the openings, they say. So a lower departure of this Atma through lower openings means that there are many samskaras which have to be purified. So a rebirth would be a rebirth at that level. The lower the opening or the departure of this Atma, the rebirth would be a lower one. From there, we have to start the sadhana and evolve, right? And usually when death comes on a person, they say, it is very dark for the jiva, because there is no understanding. When there is no understanding, it is dark for the jiva. Jiva is the indweller, the Atma, the Jivatma, who is residing in this body. Yes, Bhuvana, a little later, right? I got you. So it is usually very confusing for the jiva. It is dark. Darkness in the sense, it is not the physical darkness. It is a state of confusion. And yesterday, I think I've mentioned that there are 101 nadis which emerge from the heart. There are 101 nadis. Out of this 101 which are originating from the heart, there is one nadi which takes us to the Sushumna directly. So we don't have to really work on the Ajna and higher chakras. Just practice here. One has to catch the Sushumna while leaving the body. One has to direct the prana into the Sushumna. So I was learning to drive a car some 25 years back or so. I was asking the driver, no, see, I can't see the road. I can't hold the hand, the steering all at a time. I can't do this. He said, you just hold the steering. The car will take you where you look. And it is this beautiful, this teacher who taught me how to drive, He helped me understand this, how to direct the prana. So it is effortless. It has to be effortless. How does it become effortless? He said, you just look at the road. So then I asked him, if I have to take a turn, you look at the turning, the car will turn in that way. So it is as easy as that. It is as simple as that. You know that the Sushumna is in an upward direction. So the Atma is just guided, is just pushed in that direction. Atma takes that Sushumna. And it is here that the Guru's grace. So when Guru Garu says that, whoever comes to me, I don't know what I have. I don't know what I am. I am not that important, he says. I am not, see, as handsome as you are. The way he defines himself, he says, I don't look so good or something. I don't know what I have. I don't know what I am. But I'm happy, he says. I'm blissful. Whoever thinks of me or whoever comes in my way, he says, you get that mukta sthiti. He used that word. He used the word mukta sthiti, a state of liberation. The happiness I have, I will share with you, he says. See, such a wonderful, beautiful being to a wonderful man to meet, at least in this physical body, you know. I'm sure it's very difficult and rare to come across such a person, at least divinity personified. So he says, you don't worry about all this. So he understands our, so we usually don't put questions, too many questions. Sometimes they're answered internally. It's not an out. When we say, Guruji, what is this? It's an internal question. It is not directed at him externally. And we get the answer. It is the respect that we give him. Right? So eventually we get the answer. So we don't have to worry when at the time of departure. How do we take, in the sense, how does the Atma take the Sushumna Nadi? Just as my driver, the teacher driver who told me, you just look upwards, it takes you there. Think of Guru Garu, it takes you there. And from any other Nadi, we have to return back to samsara. Samsara is, in the sense, it is rebirth. So Bhuvana was asking, how do we know where from the Atman has escaped? Usually it bleeds. For some, the lower openings bleed, or the nostrils, they bleed. For some, the bleed happens through the ears. Some, you know, they open their eyes and they just pass. The prana is left through the eyes. They say they just close it. For some, they open the mouth and they just die through the mouth. And, you know, there are some very risky things people do, you know, because they want the prana to exit through the Brahmarandra. So consciously they break a coconut here. All that things we should not do. So only with us understanding that the passage is sure to happen. The understanding is sufficient. Look in that direction. Seek the Guru. It happens. So here we are. See the 101 nadis. So it's just not necessary for us to know which nadi is what again. See, we have reached a stage where it is not necessary to know the names of all these nadis. It is not necessary for us to know everything related to this. All the Trigunas, Tripuras, whatever, all these, just leave it away. Whatever we have learned in all these sessions, just leave it. Unlearn it. Just forget. Unlearning is the key. We accumulate so much and, you know, all this interferes with our sadhana. So learning again happens from different sources, through different sources. It's okay. All learning is good. It helps us in some way or the other. It's good. But it is important that just as we put all the baggage outside, we leave the shoes outside, come in. In a similar way, just leave all the learning and then come for sadhana. So that this analysis, so much of churning, all that is disturbing for our sadhana. That is all not necessary. So, but why are we talking then? This understanding will help us to remain in peace. Oh, good. So see, I was at peace, basically. Until I knew that there is one nadi which is taking us to the Brahmarandra from the Anahata Chakra. Internal, there was a lot of turmoil, you know. I was thinking, why here? Why in the Anahata? Why? And I was not totally relaxed. My eye was on that, trying to discover or uncover what is there. Then a simple smile, he says, there is just one nadi from this 101, which takes you to the Brahmarandra. So that ensures the exit of the Atma through the Brahmarandra. So what have we to do now? What should we do now? Nothing. Just listen to the Omkara as explained. So what does this Omkara do? It unblocks all these channels. See, there are 101 roads. One is the highway. So obviously, the highway is clear. So when the highway is clear, we don't take the sub roads or side roads or the district roads, the village roads. We do not take. Obviously, the highway is cleared for our onward journey. Then where is the fear of death now? We understand that we just go out, we are elsewhere. That's all. We are everywhere, not elsewhere. So that is the understanding, which gave me complete 100% satisfaction. And I am one with the sadhana now. So that is it. So this is the Brahmarandra on the top of the head. Usually a layer or a bone closes this. That which emerges from this region, only one has gone up to the Brahmarandra, which is the Sushumna. If it is, that gives us moksha. During the time of death, the vital breath has to move upward. It has to take an upward travel through this Brahmarandra, which liberates us. For some, effortlessly, they just type, you can see a little bleed here. So just don't worry about all this. Just know that one of these nadis is going to give us the moksha. And see, I didn't have to know all this also, but my natural curiosity and inquisitiveness to learn more, because of all that I had this question. And by the grace of Guru Garu, I now understand that no effort is needed for to just be there. And in fact, gradually, there will be no need for us to sit through that 1 hour also. You are in that state. That Omkaram, Angushtamatra Purusha will be listening to that Omkaram 24/7. We don't have to sit and be in a meditative state. I will stop here. Any Ramanama. Yeah. Yes. Yes, Bhavana. That's the simplest. Right? Question, please. Tyagaraja, in one of his compositions, he calls this as highway, yes. When the Ramanamam is there, which is the Rajamargam. Yeah. Why should I take the violence? Yeah. Praveen. Yeah. It is obvious, na? Swami Vivekananda, they are people of the highest level of consciousness. What else can happen? Yes. It is a norm for people of that order that the physical body through the Brahmarandra. And I was just mentioning about that situation. Since Guruji's grandmother, she was a very pious lady. She had constructed more than 200 Shiva temples, they said. It so happened she was very kind. There was some function going on in the house. And usually in Guruji's place, hundreds of people eat every day. That is how it happens. And people were having their food and all. They were just served the food and all. And this lady was very old. She has become blind as well, I believe. And somebody from the family were mentioning that And they offer the food to the Paramatma. So she was touching on various items which were served. And she was a widow, right? And then she has decided not to take curds after her husband has departed. So she was offering all the items which were served. And suddenly she touched the curd. And she asked somebody beside, "What is this?" They said, "It is the curd, Amma. But it's okay. It's okay, you have it. It's okay, you have it. Because there are so many people are very happy and they're having their food. So it's okay for you to have." Then that was a big deviation for her. Because then she told, "Ishvara, it's time for me to come to you." Then she laid a cloth on the ground. She just laid still on the ground, on the cloth, and she left the body. So that was their understanding of Purana. Somehow, long back, somebody has mentioned this to me. See, here the takeaway is the understanding of the prana and atma, the highest level of understanding, the highest level of control on oneself. Yeah. So I think we can hand over the session to Parameshwaran sir.
Okay, thank you.
Namaste, everybody. Somebody was mentioning about Vivekananda's death. Yes, he knew he was leaving. He did everything in a joyful mode that day. All meditation classes, so many things, and went on from morning till night. And he lied down and he went to deep sleep before meditation. All those happened. And yes, his energy left through the Brahmarandra, but physically the blood was coming through the nostril and mouth, is what is written in the books, history. So Brahmarandra, it's only energy can go, so it need not break like what you see physically in accidents, like it's a subtle energy after all. So then they have the choice whether to come back or not. Liberation is there. That is the divine higher level. What happens? And like Vivekananda, Shankaracharya, or lived Shankaracharya lived only 32 years, whereas here 39 years he lived. July 4th, last month, was the date of death of Swami Vivekananda. I think 1902, 1863 he was born. So such a great, that's all examples for us to know, yes, how it is happening. Anyway, so once we are not afraid of death itself, that's a great achievement for us. See, no man normally can say, I'm not afraid. So once we reach that, yeah, it has to go. And whether I have to take birth again or not is a choice, but our job is to undertake the journey, enjoy the journey. Whether it will happen, we don't know. See, it is said in the accidents, for example, death happens. So in that, the vital energy will go through any of the lower part only, maybe anus, like that. So that's why it happens. So quickly it's finished. They have to come back because the purpose of this life experience is over, so they need some other experience, so they have to come back. They go faster. So only we are sad when our own known people, kith and kin, die suddenly and all that age. We are sad, but the soul is happy whatever way it happens, because it has to come back. That's all. So when you are going in the wrong path, you are gone, you are realized, yeah, now my purpose of journey, this is not the route to go to my place, so let me stop, go back. Like that only it is said, or that's happened. So very rare, great souls, as she was telling, they know. So once spiritual practice, that is only thing we can die peacefully. That's why even in the Bhaja Govindam, if you OMkaram sloka by Adi Shankaracharya is Bhaja Govindam, Govindam, Bhaja Modhamade, Samprapte, Sannihide Kale, Nahi Nahi Ratchadi Dukran Karane. When that time comes, nothing protects you. An old man was writing about Vyakarana, Dukran and all that in 80s, I think. So that he was focusing only on that. Even Shankaracharya came, he did not observe like that. So this will not, that's why I say Bhaja, Govindam last. The last Nama, whatever you are. When you say Govinda, any Nama is okay, divine, that vibration. But how you will remember in the last minute, that's what the essence of it. So unless you are practicing that daily, always, that's why Ram Nam, Ram. See, like we, Anjaneya, we used to Rom, say Ram Nam, like that. And Tulasi Ramayana, you have to read his history. He was born under the Tulasi plant and he was chanting Ram as a child. It was coming. That. So they're all born for that. So we can cultivate and enjoy the journey till the last moment. That is the only thing. And we are fortunate we are here in this now. So Nimitta Matra, we are all instruments, all of us here. There is no you and me, all of us are responsible for this congregation, I will say. And Ashok took the lead 2-3 years back. And the classmates, Rajalashmi Garu and Ashok knew each other, but the time has to come. Now it came. Now we are all together and getting more and more wisdom. So I'm sure we will all get the desired result by following the practices. So I am so happy to listen every day. So I am also like a student, whoever it is, once we are able to improve our listening capacity, then itself our mind can become calm. We are so eager to say my view. That is how the friction and stress and tension come in life. We are eager. When somebody is telling something inside, thoughts are flooding. So we want to connect and what I know about it. So jump, this will happen because I had gone through this years before. So the more we Shravana, then Manana Nididhyasana. Okay. So let's go for Nadi Shuddhi Pranayama, taking a deep breath first, sitting in a comfortable but spine erect position. And let go all the tension and stress in the muscles will be there. But what we are thinking, but we will be holding the breath. So you do suddenly when you are working because you are holding the breath unknowingly. That should not happen. That's why we always say start with deep breath. In the normal life also, the normal whatever work you are doing, you observe your breath. Anytime you are holding unnecessarily. Looking at a computer, why should you hold the breath? So keep on breathing consciously. That is the key for prana to flow. Let's be here and now, the present moment, then go for Nadi Shuddhi, starting from Chandra Nadi. Exhale, then inhale at your own pace, 5 cycles. ओंकारबिंदु संयुक्तं नित्यं गायन्ति योगिनः कामदं मोक्षदं चैव ओंकाराय नमो नमः. Let's follow the guidelines. Go in from outer world to the inner world.
Sleep Number Climate 360 smart bed is the only smart bed in the world that actively cools, warms, and effortlessly responds to help relieve pressure points for both of you for up to 44 minutes more restful sleep per night. Shop now at sleepnumber.com.